on?
And this is one of the most famous stories in the Bible.
What are you live on?
YouTube.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm just giving you a quick rundown of what you've missed so far, and it's good because people gotta get in here. So, it all starts with Israel is oppressed in Egypt. They're slaves to the Egyptians because God had way earlier in Genesis had blessed Israel, and so Israel became fruitful and multiply. And Egypt was scared of that, so they said, since there's so many of them, we gotta oppress them so that they don't rise up and take over. And so we see this boy named Moses. So this is how scared Pharaoh is of them. He kills all of the babies. He kills all of the baby boys. He throws them into the Nile River. And so Moses' mom hides him, and what she does is she puts him in a basket and she puts him on the river, just putting her faith in God. He floats down the river, and Pharaoh's sister, who just happens to be by the river, sees the baby, takes the baby, raises Moses up. So Moses is a Hebrew. Moses is one of the slave people, but he doesn't know that. He's raised up as this Egyptian prince. He's raised up highest of the high because he's raised up by Pharaoh's sister. So he ends up he feels in his heart the oppression that his people were suffering, and so he ends up killing one of the slave masters after he's what's up Bandito. So I'm just summarizing what we've gone through so far. So he ends up rising up, killing one of the slave masters, and Pharaoh tries to kill him, or Pharaoh tries to imprison him, whatever. So he ends up running away. um when he runs away, God comes to him on a mountain. I'm doing a short summary. God comes to him on the mountain, and this is Jesus Christ. This is Jesus Christ in the Old Testament because it's the Word of God. He's just not incarnate yet. So he talks to him through this burning bush, and he tells him, I'm choosing you to go and free my people Israel. And so Moses goes back to Egypt, now a adult, and God gives him powers through this staff. And so we see in the chapters we read last night that God performs 10 plagues. So God has Moses go up to Pharaoh and say, I've talked to God, and he says, let my people go. Let my people go and worship their God. And Pharaoh, he's filled with pride. He says, nope, not going to happen. So God sends the first plague. Water turns to blood. He turns all of the water in the river. He turns all of the water in the river from water to blood. Then Moses comes back, says, let my people go, let us worship their God. This is what God has told me. And Pharaoh still hardens his heart. Nope, not going to happen. So God sends a second plague. He sends frogs. Then the Lord said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and tell him, this is what Yahweh says, let my people go so that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let them go, then I will plague all your territory with with frogs. God gives a fair warning. The Nile will swarm with frogs. They will come up and go into your palace, into your bedroom, and on your bed, and in your houses of your officials and your people, and into your ovens and eating bowls. He doesn't like ambush Pharaoh with this stuff. He full on gives him a complete disclaimer of what's going to happen if he doesn't let if he doesn't let his people go and worship him. But Pharaoh hardens his heart, still doesn't let them go. So God sends another plague. And real quick about the frogs, so they piled them in countless heaps, and there was a terrible odor. It stunk. It stunk. And that's the stink of pride. That's the stink of pride. So he still doesn't let them go because Pharaoh, he thinks he's a god. He's a god in his own eyes, and he has so much pride, even though he's supposed to be protecting his people. So he sends a third plague, gnats. And Aaron, he puts all of the power in this staff. And this is awesome. My cousin just found this. This is literally perfect to explain this. So then the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the earth, and it will become gnats throughout the land of Egypt. So he strikes his staff in the sand, and just like that sand, now there's gnats everywhere. All the dust of the earth became gnats throughout the land of Egypt. The magicians tried to produce gnats using their occult practices, but they could not. The gnats remained on man and in the beast. This is the finger of God, the magician said to Pharaoh. Even Pharaoh's people are telling him, like, dude, You're clearly messing with God. Like, let's let these people go. But nope. He hardens his heart and would not listen to them. Sends another plague. This is the fourth plague. Swarms of flies. The Lord said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh when you see him, tell him, this is what Yahweh says, let my people go." And if you guys don't know, Yahweh is another name of God. And Yahweh is the name of God. So he says, if not, if you don't let my people go, I'm going to send swarms of flies against you and your officials, your people, and your houses. The houses will swarm with flies, and so will the land where they live. But on that day I will give special treatment to the land of Goshen where my people are living. So God, this whole time, he's not really letting the plagues affect his people, just the Egyptians. Now still, obviously, we see the pattern with this. He doesn't let them go. Doesn't let them go. So he sends a fifth plague. I'm going to go through the rest of these real quick because now that there's 16 people in here, I want to get to the reading. Thank you, Olivia. Jesus loves you too. Thank you, MJ. God bless you too. So, fifth plague, death of livestock. God causes all of the livestock to die. Still won't let them go. Sixth plague, boils. The Egyptians get these nasty, painful boils all over their face. It says festering. Oh, that word, festering. Seventh plague, hail. Sends hail, and this hail is like wiping out stuff. Eighth plague, locust. Sends a ridiculous amount of locusts. It says that they will cover the surface of the land. No one will be able to see the land. That's how many locusts there was. What's up, Thiago in Brazil? Show us your abs. No, not on this live stream. We're in the Bible, bro. The ninth plague, darkness. He sends a darkness over the land. And then finally, we're on chapter 11, and we're about to see what the 10th plague is. This is where God is a long-suffering God. God is going to give you chance after chance after chance after chance. But finally, it's going to seriously, he's only going to let you hurt other people for so long. So chapter 11, y'all open up chapter 11. After we go through the first 5 chapters, we'll do a quick summary and go over some stuff. So y'all get out a notepad, whatever. The 10th plague, death of the firstborn. The Lord said to Moses, I forgot to flip the camera. Focus. The Lord said to Moses, I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here. When he lets you go, he will drive you out of here. Now announce to the people that both men and women should ask their neighbors for silver and gold jewelry. The Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And the man Moses was highly regarded in the land of Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and in the people. So Moses said, "This is what Yahweh says. About midnight I will go throughout Egypt, and every firstborn male in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, to the firstborn of the servant girl who is behind the millstones, as well as every firstborn of the flock. Then there will be a great cry of anguish through all the land of Egypt, such as never was before or ever will be again. But against all the Israelites, whether man or beast, not even a dog will snarl, so that you may know that Yahweh makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these officials of yours will come down to me and bow before me, saying, 'Leave, you and all the people who follow you.' After that I will leave." And he left Pharaoh's presence in fierce anger. The Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt." Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go out of the land. Y'all give me 1 second. Chapter 12, Instructions for the Passover. And this is the origins of Passover, y'all. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month is to be the beginning of months for you. It is the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month they must select an animal of the flock according to their fathers' households, one animal per household. If the household is too small for a whole animal, that person in the neighbor nearest his house are to select one based on the combined number of people. You should apportion the animal according to what each person will eat. You must have an unblemished animal, a year-old male. You may take it from either the sheep or the goats. You are to keep it until the 14th day of this month. Then the whole assembly of the community of Israel will slaughter the animals at twilight. They must take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts in the lintel of the houses where they eat them. They are to eat the meat that night. They should eat it, roast it over the fire along with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or cooked in boiling water, but only roasted over fire. Its head as well as its legs and inner organs. Do not let any of it remain until morning. You must burn up any part of it that does remain before morning. Here's how you must eat it. You must be dressed for travel, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And y'all check out this staff. This thing is legit. You are to eat it in a hurry. It is the Lord's Passover. I will pass through the land of Egypt on that night and strike every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. I am Yahweh. I will execute judgments against all the gods of Egypt. The blood on the houses where you are staying will be a distinguishing mark for you. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No plague will be among you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. This day is to be a memorial for you, and you must celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. You are to celebrate it throughout your generations as a permanent statute. You must eat unleavened bread for 7 days. On the first day, you must remove yeast from your houses. Whoever eats what is leavened from the first day through the 7th day must be cut off from Israel. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the first day and another sacred assembly on the 7th day. No work may be done on those days except for preparing what people need to eat. You may do only that. You are to observe the festival of unleavened bread because on this very day I brought your divisions out of the land of Egypt. You must observe this day throughout your generations as a permanent statute. You are to eat unleavened bread in the first month, from the evening of the 14th day of the month until the evening of the 21st day. Yeast must not be found in your houses for 7 days. If anyone eats something leavened, that person, whether a foreign resident or native in the land, must be cut off from the community of Israel. Do not eat anything leavened. Eat unleavened bread in all your homes. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go, select an animal from the flock according to your families, and slaughter the Passover animal. Take a cluster of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and brush the lintel and the two doorposts with some of the blood in the basin. None of you may go out the door of his house until morning. When the Lord passes through to strike Egypt and sees the blood on the lintel and in the two doorposts, he will pass over the door and not let the destroyer enter your house to strike you. Keep this command permanently as a statute for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, you are to observe this ritual. When your children ask you, What does this ritual mean to you? You are to reply, It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, for he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when he struck the Egyptians and spared our homes. So the people bowed down and worshipped. Then the Israelites went and did this. They did just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. The Exodus. Now at midnight the Lord struck every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and every firstborn of the livestock. During the night Pharaoh got up, he along with all his officials and all the Egyptians, and there was a loud wailing throughout Egypt because there wasn't a house without someone dead. He summoned Moses and Aaron he summoned Moses and Aaron during the night and said, "Get up, leave my people, both you and the Israelites, and go worship Yahweh as you have asked. Take even your flocks and your herds as you asked, and leave, and also bless me." Now the Egyptians pressured the people in order to send them quickly out of the country, for they said, "We are all going to die." So the people took their dough before it was leavened, with their kneading bowls wrapped up in their clothes on their shoulders. The Israelites acted on Moses' word and asked the Egyptians for silver and gold jewelry and for clothing. And the Lord gave the people such favor in the Egyptian sight that they gave them what they requested. In this way they plundered the Egyptians. Remember, y'all, he said that they were going to plunder the Egyptians. The Israelites traveled from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 soldiers on foot, besides their families. An ethnically diverse crowd also went up with them, along with a huge number of livestock, both flocks and herds. The people baked the dough they had brought out of Egypt into unleavened loaves, since it had no yeast. For when they had been driven out of Egypt, they could not delay and had not prepared any provisions for themselves. The time that the Israelites lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, on that same day, all the Lord's divisions went out from the land of Egypt. It was a night of vigil in honor of the Lord, because he would bring them out of the land of Egypt. This same night is in honor of the Lord, a night vigil for all the Israelites throughout their generations. Passover instruction. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the statute of the Passover. No foreigner may eat it, but any slave a man has purchased may eat it, after you have circumcised them. A temporary resident or hired hand may not eat the Passover. It it is it is to be eaten in one house. You may not take any of the meat outside the house, and you may not break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it. If a foreigner resides with you and wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover, every male in his household must be circumcised, and then he may participate. He will become like a native of the land, but no uncircumcised person may eat it. The same law will apply to both the native and the foreigner who resides among you." Then all the Israelites did this. They did just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. On that same day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of the land of Egypt according to their divisions. Chapter 13. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Consecrate every firstborn male to me, the firstborn from every womb among the Israelites, both man and domestic animal. It is mine." Then Moses said to the people, "Remember this day when you came out of Egypt, out of the place of slavery, for the Lord brought you out of here by the strength of his hand. Nothing leavened may be eaten. Today in the month of Abib, you are leaving, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers that he would give you, a land flowing with milk and honey. You must carry out this ritual in this month. For 7 days you must eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day there is to be a festival to the Lord. Unleavened bread is to be eaten for those 7 days. Nothing leavened may be found among you, and no yeast may be found among you in all your territory. On that day, explain to your son, 'This is because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt.' Let it serve as a sign for you on your hand and as a reminder on your forehead, so that the Lord's instruction may be in your mouth. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with a strong hand. Keep this statute at its appointed time from year to year. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, you are to present to the Lord every firstborn male of the womb. All firstborn offspring of the livestock you own that are males will be the Lord's. You must redeem every firstborn of a donkey with a flock animal, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. However, you must redeem every firstborn among your sons. In the future, when your son asks you, 'What does this mean?' say to him, 'By the strength of his hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of man to the firstborn of livestock.'" That is why I sacrifice to the Lord all the firstborn of the womb that are males, but I redeem all the firstborn of my sons. So let it be a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead, for the Lord brought us out of Egypt by the strength of his hand. The route of Exodus. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them along the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby. For God said, the people will change their minds and return to Egypt if they face war. So he led the people around toward the Red Sea along the road of the wilderness. And the Israelites left the land of Egypt in battle formation. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, because Joseph had made the Israelites swear a solemn oath, saying, God will certainly come to your aid. Then you must take my bones with you from this place. They set out from Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to lead them on their way during the day, and in a pillar of fire to give them light at night, so that they could travel day or night. The pillar of cloud day by day and the pillar of fire night by night never left its place in front of the people. Chapter 14. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and camp in front of Paharioth. I have no clue how to say this one. Between Midal and the sea. You must camp in front of Baal Zephon, facing it by the sea. Pharaoh will say of the Israelites, if someone can put a pronunciation for that one, I would really appreciate it. They are wandering around the land of confusion. The wilderness has boxed them in. I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them. Then I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh. So the Israelites did this. The Egyptian pursuit. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about the people and said, what have we done? We have released Israel from serving us. So he got his chariot ready and took his troops with him. He took 600 of the best chariots and all the rest of the chariots of Egypt, with officers in each one. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the Israelites, who were going out triumphantly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, his horsemen and his army, chased after them and caught up with them as they camped by the sea beside, that word again, Paharoth, in front of Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up and saw the Egyptians coming after them. Then the Israelites were terrified and cried out to the Lord for help. They said to Moses, it is because there are no graves in Egypt that you took us out to die in the wilderness? Oh, is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you took us to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Isn't this what we told you in Egypt? Leave us alone so that we may serve the Egyptians? Unbelievable. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. But Moses said to the people, don't be afraid. Stand firm and see the Lord's salvation. He will provide for you today. For the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You must be quiet. Escape through the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to break camp. As for you, lift up your staff. Stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I'm going to harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them. I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh, all his army, and his chariots and horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh when I receive glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the angel of God, who was going in front of the Israelite forces, moved and went behind them. The pillar of cloud moved from in front of them and stood behind them. It came between the Egyptians and the Israelite forces. The cloud was there in the darkness, yet it lit up the night. So neither group came near e- the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. The Lord drove back the sea with a powerful east wind all that night and turned the sea into a dry land. So the waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with the waters like a wall to them on their right and on their left. The Egyptians set out in pursuit, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen, and went into the sea after them. Then during the morning watch, the Lord looked down on the fire and cloud and threw them into confusion. He caused their chariot wheels to swerve and made them drive with difficulty. Let's get away from Israel, the Egyptians said, because Yahweh is fighting for them against Egypt. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may come back on the Egyptians, on their chariots and horsemen. So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea returned to its normal depth. While the Egyptians were trying to escape from it, the Lord threw them into the sea. The waters came back and covered the chariots and the horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had gone after them into the sea. None of them survived. But the Israelites had walked through the sea on dry ground, with the waters like a wall to them on their right and their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the power of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. When Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and believed in him and in his servant Moses. Israel's song. All right, y'all. Last chapter. Then we're going through this. So think of what you've been picking up from this. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. They said, "I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior, Yahweh is his name. He threw Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea. The elite of his officers were drowned in the Red Sea. The floods covered him. The floods covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Lord, your right hand is glorious in power. Lord, your right hand shattered the enemy. You overthrew your adversaries. By great majesty, you unleashed your burning wrath. It consumed them like stubble. The Lord heaped up at the blast of your nostrils. The current stood firm like a dam. The watery depths congealed in the heart of the sea, the enemy said. Congealed in the hearts of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire will be gratified at their expense, and I will draw my sword. I will draw my sword, my hand will destroy them. But you blew with your breath, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Lord, who is like you among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, revered with praises, performing wonders? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. You will lead the people you have redeemed with your faithful love. You will guide them to your holy dwelling with your strength. When the people hear, they will shudder. Anguish will seize the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom will be terrified. Trembling will seize the leaders of Moab. The inhabitants of Canaan will panic, and terror and dread will fall on them. They will be as still as stone because of your powerful arm. Until your people pass by, Lord, until the people whom you have purchased pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your possession. Lord, you have prepared the place for your dwelling. Lord, your hands have established the sanctuary. The Lord will reign forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses with his chariots and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the waters of the sea back for them. But the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women followed her with their Miriam sang to them, Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. He has thrown the horse and its rider into the sea. water provided. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out to the wilderness of Shur. They journeyed for 3 days in the wilderness without finding water. They came to Marah, but they could not drink the water at Marah because it was bitter. That is why it was named Marah. The people grumbled to Moses, "What are we going to drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he threw it into the water became drinkable. He made a salute and ordinance for them at Marah and tested them there. He said, "If you will carefully obey the Lord your God, do what is right in his eyes, pay attention to his commands, and keep all his statutes, I will not inflict any illnesses on you that I inflicted on the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 date palms, and they camped there by the waters. All right, y'all. We're about to go over those couple of chapters. I want every single one of you, all 22 of you, to think of one thing that you got from these chapters, one thing that the Lord put on your heart from these. And I'm going to read all over all the comments y'all were commenting, but I want every single one of you to think of one thing, pick up one thing from chapters 11 to 16 of Exodus. I will be right back. I'm going to grab my charger. I only see I feel like I only see 4 or 5. Come on. What did y'all get? Chapters 11 to 16 of Exodus. What was the Spirit speaking to you from those chapters we just read? And before we even get into this, I just want to say a prayer real quick. Lord, I come in agreement with all the people on this live tonight that would come into agreement with me. Lord, we pray that you just reveal something in our lives, reveal something in the Spirit to us from these chapters that we've been reading, that we're going to read in Exodus tonight. Lord, please bless this live tonight. Bless all the people in here. Thank you guys so much for joining. And Lord, just give us revelation from your word. These are a bunch of people who are seeking your heart. I'm seeking your heart. We're seeking your word. So we just ask that you would bring us revelation. In Jesus' name, amen.